Welcome. It's Turtle Island Report, Saturday, November 15. Take off your shoes, put your toes in the soil. Enjoy a lovely ride with us. See you in 3 minutes. Alright, we got the music going. I don't think anyone can hear me, thank goodness, I think. Turtle Island is filmed in front of a... Wait a minute, I'm muted. Turtle Island is filmed in front of a live crew. Let's tune in right now and see what's going on in there. Hello, can you guys hear me? You guys there?
Yeah, we can hear you. Hi, James.
Hi, we are live on the air. So
hey, everyone.
Everybody put your clothes on.
What fun is that?
Oh, come on.
Get off
Be
your
naked on
eggs and
Turtle
put your
Island.
clothes on. Get off your
My
eggs.
nipples are covered.
Clothes on.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a beautiful Saturday. It's November 15th, Turtle Island Report. I don't know if we're going to call it this, but it just seems so fitting because all of us are living on Turtle Island, and it's a good opportunity to kind of come together and just discuss things that either could be happening now or have happened before or could happen in the future. There's really no limitation here. So welcome to my fellow crew. If anyone wants to speak up and say hi, just go right ahead.
The world is our turtle shell. Hello,
All
this
right.
is Renee. Hi, everybody. I'm hailing from the Pacific Northwest over here at Turtle Island.
Oh, that's great.
Glad to be here.
Welcome aboard.
Nice. Brad over here. I'm in the southeast. I'm holding Turtle Island down from the southeastern corner down here. Pretty well in check.
Yeah. It's Georgia, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that okay? All right. I mean, we don't have to call it Georgia. We are open to all kinds of names. Yeah.
And I'm Lauren. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're doing great, Lauren.
I'm
This is
Lauren
part of...
from Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm holding down the Great Lakes region. And I just want to share that nothing is missing and nothing is broken.
Oh,
It's a
right
beautiful
on.
day.
So glad to have you aboard,
Beautiful day, Dave.
Lauren.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
Sounding good, Lauren. I'm here from the Chitimacha,
Ooh.
Turtle Island in the great state of the Boot of Louisiana.
Did you say Chitimacha?
Chitimacha. Chitimacha.
Oh,
Chitty bang
beautiful.
bang.
We've got We've got a lot of tribe over here. We just had a tribe ceremony over here at Turtle Island.
Yeah.
We had a bamboo teepee initiation ceremony
Oh,
with the Chitamacha holding down the tribe elder was here.
Now, Lauren, is the bamboo native to the Chitimata, or was that imported bamboo?
Oh, it's not native, but it's a great growing crop and building crop. So,
It is. I love bamboo.
and an artistic crop. So we have a lot of wonderful things going on in the native indigenous tribe. And I said to my brother, I'm indigenous. And he said, yes, you are.
oh, good. Yeah, I
So
hope.
the good news is, you know, we have to remember who we are, right?
That's right.
Here, here.
I guess we don't have to. Some of us may still enjoy the amnesia. There is a nice little safety in that nest, you know, and they'll come out when they're ready. This is what I think really being white man is that that amnesia is still stopping you from being colored by the boot of Louisiana, or from me. I'm in Katua here, which is just outside of Kuala, the oldest non-surrendered capital of the Turtle Island clans, known to many of you as the Cherokee, but before that known as the Iroquois, and before that the Haudenosaunee, and before that probably some like cool Echoian word. Like echo is like an ancient Turtle Island word for deer. And I think about how cool it would be to phonetically tap into the original sounds that used to pervade this area, and more importantly, how many of them are still pervading now. I grew up in a town called Chattanooga, which is where mountain comes to point. I grew up near Ottawa, which is something about an arrow in a valley or something, I think. And all these different names have been bastardized and changed over time, just like any kind of mythology. And it's so special, I think, when we can see these names right out in the open, even if they're carved into a metal sign. It just feels really good to notice the history, and for each of us to sort of become less white man and more indigenous. I think that's such a power word right now. So I'm really glad you brought that up.
Well, I just am going to look up on my little handy computer because I was born in the town of Patchogue. Isn't that a great word, Patchogue?
Yeah.
And that's from the great state of New York, Long Island, New York. So I'm going to look it up what that Patchogue means.
Right on.
That's the great thing about most of these names, and really, it's when you look at names of cities and towns across even the country of Great Turtle Island, it's fascinating to see how many of these come from indigenous cultures, and even the ones that tie into Europe and Egyptian cultures and Rome and things like this. And yet we're here talking about our sort of indigenous white manness when the very land that we're all inhabiting is so rich with the indigenous names and the indigenous blood and stories of what it was built on. And it's so easy to forget that. You know, it really is. And to sit there and think that you're disenchanted and disenfranchised on a land that you're not fully plugged into because you're still searching for your identity. And isn't that the plight of the white man?
Yeah.
In a sense, in this country?
I think so. Yeah. It's such a beautiful thing that we're learning right now. Even watching all the Nazis running around, like all the crazy things that are happening right now, are the grasping of that concept and how uncomfortable it is, how dangerous it is. This is all part of the realness of what it means to connect like this.
So I looked up what it meant, and it's Algonquin.
Uh-huh.
And it means where patches of water or two streams separate.
Oh,
Isn't
nice.
that great? So it's like, and I think that this giving honor to the Turtle Island and the place of your origin, because one of the things that we were asked to do, to claim Mother Earth as our mother and to go to our place where we were born and do a dispatch, a prayer dispatch, or a despacho called a despacho. And I remember going to Patchogue and trying to, there's water there. The Great South Bay is there, and then there's also a unfathomable lake where the legend is that every year the maiden of the lake takes a young man as her sacrifice.
A reverse virgin sacrifice. I like
yes,
it.
yes. But it's kind of like that tradition that James talks about the origins of our placenta and all of that mythology, and that, like, thinking about if everyone went and connected to their birthplace and did a ceremony there, would that make them more of indigenous? Just question.
Yeah. Even just a simple magic like writing the words "my placenta" on a sheet of paper.
My placenta.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. Yeah, and burying that in your house. I think I don't mean for this to sound grim, but like where we bury our pets, I think is sort of a similar kind of thing,
Yeah.
And you end up feeling connected to that place because that sort of placenta adjacent kind of energy, it's the ka of something like that. So it's still profound.
I have my dogs in little boxes because I don't feel like I want to be committed to one location.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little ash boxes.
I actually struggle with that right now. I
bet you do.
In a way, it's kind of important because it makes me stay here. And so it's both, if that makes sense. It's like, because
totally.
I don't know if I would. There was a time when I was going to leave my house several years ago, and luckily the vehicle that I was going to move into, it had a leak in the roof, and it stopped me from like abandoning this house and all I had. This is like years and years ago, and I remember being sort of like, God, I'm really glad that happened. Like really glad because of how important my house is, but then also the ka of our pets and everything else that's happened. So I raised my hand because I wanted to, I don't mean to be all like, I'm going to take the floor, but I wanted to at least bring up something that I prepared for us, which is exactly in line with what we're talking about. And that person's name is Sequoia. And this is a Cherokee polymath. And he was born roughly around 1776, somewhere between 1770 and 1778 in Tuskegee, which is in present-day eastern Tennessee, not very far from where I am right now. And this guy was born as a Cherokee, but he had a white father. His father's name was Guess. I'm not asking you to guess.
No, that's real.
Yeah, but his father's name was Guess, sometimes pronounced Gist, like Gist or Guess. They invented Guess jeans.
It's not serious.
Yeah, they were 200 years ahead of their time. People were like, we're not wearing Guess jeans, and they were buried in a time capsule, and that was later recovered by George Michael, who used that to start the band called Wham, I think. So
wake me up before you go.
That's right. A little bit of history there, a little bit of time capsule history. But George Guess was his, I guess we'll call it, white man's name, and he went on to. He was a trader. He was a blacksmith. He, of course, was an educator, and probably what most people know him for. I think actually what most people know him for, but don't know, they don't know that this is what they know them for, is the tree. that the sequoia tree, that name is attributed to this man. And that's freaking huge.
And he didn't live where the land of the sequoia are.
He did not live where they were, but he was considered such a monumental figure through his contribution that he went on. His moniker went on to be the name of our tallest trees. I actually maybe second tallest. Sorry, I'm going to have a fight if anyone wants to fight over this. I think the
redwoods might win.
I think the great chestnut tree might be taller, but the sequoia are the redwoods, as I understand it.
Yeah,
and it could be that the ancient great chestnut trees were even taller, and those were on the eastern side. I joke about saying I don't know which ones are taller, but we had our giant ass trees over here too. It was
that would be so amazing. I've been to the redwoods, and I couldn't imagine a tree. What kind of tree again, James?
The great chestnut.
A great. And that's more of a different type of a bloom, right? Is that a?
Yeah, it sure is. It's a different. It's not an evergreen, in fact.
Yeah, it's not an evergreen.
It's a deciduous.
Bigger than a redwood. That I can't even imagine.
I know, right?
It would be so huge.
Yeah. It's sort of like a viscus pisces shaped leaf. In other words, the central part of that sort of a very simple canoe shaped leaf. I'll call it that. Big old chestnuts, giant trunk. You've probably seen some pictures of their trunk, but they to cut down one of these was quite a huge endeavor back then. They suffered their own fate, probably due more honestly to the Japanese maple, a beautiful tree, but this tree coming from Japan was such a sensation that it allowed a predator to the great chestnut. I think it's like an aphid or something that causes this genetic disorder to become active. And so there are still great chestnut trees growing here. I've planted several myself, but they tend to get around maybe 80 or 90 years old. And I've never had any of mine do this, but once they get there, that's when this genetic disorder kicks in. So it's sort of like a balance, honestly. Hemlocks have the same issue, that the hemlocks that used to be here in the South that were just like gigantors, and they are stunted, I think, in the same way. In fact, I might even be confusing the aphids with that, but both of them have a regulator now that basically says you can't go gigantor anymore. Which honestly, gigantism is something that is built into every species. So it's quite natural that anything would move in and out of a gigantic status purely based on the needs of what's around it and things like that.
And the environment and the check. And what I'm wondering, James, do you think that's in any way connected to, how kudzu is non-native, but it has moved in? And when kudzu moves in, it literally pulls down everything that it comes in contact with. Do you know what I mean? Do you think there's any relation to that as far as like?
So yeah, kudzu is amazing because it's like a foot a day sometimes. Like it's intense,
crazy.
I find it to be one of the most beautiful. I just fall in love with. I think it's amazing. I've actually always had a dream of owning a campground just so I could build giant erector poles that would drape kudzu off of it, and make all these cool designs out of it. It is very evasive, but you know what? It's also kind of like a vegetative form of fire, Brad, because it comes in, wow. You know what I mean? And it regenerates. It just says, look, guys, if you don't got what it takes, fuck you.
I'm pulling you down.
Yeah. So it drowns itself, but in vegetation and chloroform, So yeah, it definitely drowns us, and it drowns itself. It'll take over like a mountain. You can just like watch it, grow. So, but yeah, it's quite an amazing species. I don't know the genetic history of kudzu. In fact, I even wonder if maybe there wasn't some sort of localized bamboo simply because Barbados, all the cane that we had through the Americas was certainly something that was utilized, you know. So it could be that there even was some form of bamboo over here that I just don't know about.
Yeah. I definitely put kudzu on the level of vulture in terms of seemingly what it does, because
Yeah.
it does seem to. I'm watching it around me, and basically, like I say, it's resetting the landscape in a sense.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's definitely destructive, and people who are into the earth and gardening are probably hearing me like they can't believe that I'm even looking at this like a beautiful thing. But I do. It is a fire. It's just a vegetative
Plant fire,
form of fire. Yeah, it really is.
Totally.
And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of things that end up doing that naturally anyway. So now Sequoia, one of the things, he was in the War of 1812, and he fought with, poor guy. He was like, hey, I'm going to trust this white guy named Andrew Jackson. Now, his father was a white guy. This is not that weird, and I've been telling people for a while now that I'm guys, let's have a real honest discussion about what Chief White Bear probably meant, because you can open a lot of history books and there's a whole bunch of, and Chief White Bear said, and Chief White Bear showed us how to, do this and whatnot. So Andrew Jackson was one of these Chief White Bears. Ruthless dude, very charismatic, but also very into the idea of climbing the social ladder, so to speak. Everything was very opportunistic for him, but that wasn't just him. Most of your founding fathers were basically just capitalizing on everything that was happening. So Jackson, even though he's a very complex figure, you'll see a lot of his early work where he's more of a, can we all get along? And then he's just like, yeah, I'm going psychopath on you guys.
Apparently we can't.
Yeah, and the Battle of Horseshoe Bend is one of these battles, and Sequoia was at that battle, and it was like 40 of Jackson's men died, maybe 47, and 1,000 of the what are these called? The Red Sticks. Is that what their official name is? 1,000 of these locals, then called the Red Sticks, died. So like 50, he lost 50 men and they lost 1,000. And it was their fortification. Jackson said it would have been easier, but the Red Sticks had built the Horseshoe Bend fortifications too well, and that their cannonballs were bouncing off of it. And because they were built into the earth, they weren't able to penetrate it. So even though they had all the advantage of having the defense, they were just slaughtered. And Sequoia was actually working for Jackson. He actually came in on the north side, where this is a horseshoe bend, so it's sort of like a peninsula. And he was part of the Indian force aligned with Jackson's own cavalry that was coming in from the rear and stealing their canoes, bringing them across the shore so other people could come across, and eventually raiding the village and basically just slaughtering everyone. Sequoia is participating in this event. This is his second war. This isn't even his first. And he's noticing that the soldiers are writing home in letters, and he notices how weak his people are, because they do not have a way of talking leaves. He called it that there was no opportunity to utilize the magic of talking leaves. So he left the war pretty sane. You don't see a lot of like trauma, like, oh my God, I killed my own people, or it's none of that. I don't think that he saw war or death in the same way that you and I do. And he returned to his village. He built this system of writing. the Cherokee language. It's still spoken today. It's still used today. And he spent a lot of his time convincing other Cherokee tribes that this wasn't like evil magic, that he was having to show them that it wasn't a trick. It was just simply a practical tool that could be used. So this gives you a sort of a look at this was such an expansionary gift for consciousness, for the mind. And if you think about the ratios, you're looking at for every 20 Indians that dies, one of Jackson's men dies. This is included even with the Native Americans that are fighting for him. And it's like there's that placebo, that belief, the power of the knee, of the malamu, of the intimidating charisma of these white men was so powerful that it gave them an immune system that was 20 times stronger than the natives who had never been exposed to those kinds of things. So I'm trying to imagine how the consciousness would work, especially when if you're 20 times more powerful than something. It's sort of like you finding a bunny rabbit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's not your equal. You know?
Yeah.
It's not your equal, is it? It's a different sort of. It's a very different thing. And some of these are like willing. Obviously, Sequoia is half white, or however you would call that. So you don't even really know what the purely indigenous, where they actually were. I'm just giving you a rough concept of this death ratio of 20 to 1, as a rough measure of strength, so to speak.
So I have a question about this, because at this time, did this, Turtle Island nations, were they kind of having the consciousness they couldn't understand how people would want to kill over land because it wasn't something?
Yeah, I would think a foreign idea.
Well, land was definitely fought over for a long time. That was more like fun, I think, honestly.
Well, fought over for like hunting rights or roaming rights, or I think they would fight over like, I want to get a bigger tribe, so we're going to go take the women so we can have more kids or something.
Yep.
But did they really want to own land? Like, so a person like,
in terms of like manifest destiny, right? Like this land belongs to me.
Yeah, like did they have that kind of thing in their psyche?
See, this
as a magic thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing. I don't mean to sound like I'm trying to say here's the answer, but I do know that the Iroquois did have more of a conceptual understanding of nation and landhood. Cherokee seems to have developed that understanding, but most of the psyche of where it was bioregional. The bioregion, I think, was just such a potent form of psychic manipulation that was more your conscious state was really more based on this is where I live, right? That's why you could be kidnapped, and now I'm a Chippewa, now I'm a Mohawk, now I'm a Seneca.
It's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a serf. I'm sorry, I just interrupted, but you're a serf. You know what I mean? You're like a living cabbage. So it's like you can't not own the land to then own the land. Do you see what I mean? So in that way, consciously, it would be a completely ignorant concept, I think, for sure.
I think it's interesting you brought up Andrew Jackson, because all this talk of being indigenous, I'm related to Mingo Pushmahata. He was a Choctaw chief. His daughter, Running Deer, Julia Ann Anderson, I'm related to him through her. And he had quite a bit of interaction with Andrew Jackson, and it wasn't all positive.
Mm-hmm.
He worked with him during the War of 1812 and the Creek Wars. So he was a chief negotiator with Jackson and DC. But there was accusations of exaggerating the quality of the land being offered in Arkansas in exchange for the valuable Choctaw land in Mississippi.
Mm.
So he was kind of misled, and there's a lot of hard feelings. But yeah, he ultimately died in DC under mysterious circumstances. So, but it's hard. I don't really share that with a lot of people because I don't look like it on the outside. But I have a real connection to the land, and I can feel it.
I can feel it. I can see how potent you are, and I think this shows as part of that. This is why I think all of us are finding that we're suffocating, so we have to connect to the land. Even though we think maybe we're not the right color, this has actually never been the case. It was never the case that there was like, hey, you're not the right color. You can't connect to the land. That's actually never been a thing here. It's only until we've been caramelized into what we are now, where it's sort of a reverse racism. It's so confusing, right? Because you have now the white man's like, this is our land. And then the red man's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And you know, and then you're looking at the whole thing and you want to be sensitive, but also you're like, well, I got to plant my roots because, you know, I am, the Wetiko will continue until the placenta improves. You know, how do we forge our feet into this? And it's gonna be messy like this. It's gonna need kudzu. It's gonna need a lot of fires. It's gonna need a lot of fucking concrete, man. A lot of asphalt. You know.
So back to Turtle Island Confederacy, like we've talked about before, like the mythology or the history likes to say it was just Indian tribes, but like you've pointed out, James, it was actually a melting pot of all that. It was people just claiming their roots on the land, and it wasn't an issue of what you looked like, right? As to your right to be indigenous.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that they're probably. Well, we know for a fact if you weren't wearing your feathers right on the head, we've covered some of these different headpieces, for example, the different tribes. Like that's a pretty big social faux pas, and that would be no different than almost like a gang sign. I'm just trying to give us context.
Again, exactly that. It's a gang sign. It's that you're wearing your feathers right, not that your skin is right or this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
It's that you affiliate.
Yeah. We have no history of the lone shaman, and that doesn't mean he's not there, but who's going to write that down? Who's going to, the last of the Mohican is sort of an idea, isn't it? It's that this is the ending of this, but it's really the ending of the nation itself. It's you don't really know where it goes from there. It's, in fact, before Sequoia gave this language, only then could you start to rescue the lore before it was going to be changed, because you would have to have been there and then hear the stories as they changed over 20 years ago. This story about this bird was a story about this pheasant, but this pheasant was actually a cat, and here it was here. And the animism was so much more playful, I think, in changing. It's almost like they shared the same bandwidth, where like the fashion of like what's in season would be reflected in the storytelling mythology of Unatanku or some sort of horned snake. So the horned snake would be there, but the stories of the horned snake would change through the 1600s, through the 1500s, through the 1700s. Once you got the language, now this is the only chance where you can even start to write this stuff down and record it. But then as soon as you write it down, it literally changes everything. Everything is now more about what's going to get written down, or I don't want that to be written down, or I'm ashamed of that, or we have to look better, or our God can't be a female God. That was a thing for a while where it was like, look, we can't go into war because our goddess has too many titties. And if we run her, I'm sorry, but it's like, that's true. The Artemis symbol needed to change because it was too feminine for war. So your mythology would have to change. If it's like, wait, you're going to write that down? Well, let's change some things. All right. let's change some things. There's a lot of gross stories in here. We got.
But
we,
I was thinking about our, like indigenous and like, well, Lauren kind of looks like she has a goddess from Ireland.
Scottish, yep.
So she probably has some lineage of like a chief or princess or something over there. So we have these like mixtures of our blood and DNA and this magic elixir of having a turtle island that has all of this.
And
That's what I
isn't that
think.
interesting?
Yeah, it's really interesting when I think about Sequoia coming from like two different bloodlines, and then so he didn't have a problem fighting on the one side because he was half that, and didn't have a problem helping the other side because he was half that.
yeah.
So the solution is in the problem.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
And
The solution is. Explain
The
that, please.
problem, you think that, oh, well, the indigenous is like this pure-blooded person. Nobody's pure-blooded. I
Yeah.
mean, the person doing the ceremony today was not pure-blooded.
Yeah.
Sequoia's not pure-blooded. He was a both, and with the solution to become a legend in his time.
Yeah.
And the aspect of that I think is so interesting is the fact that I find that the way our genetics we present visually, right?
Yeah.
It's just such a like when you look at your genetics, you find out it's like we appear a certain way, but it's like we're so much more complex than that, right? Like there's so much more blood in there than whatever chooses to appear, and that's what's so funny about how we choose to identify is so much more about how we appear, right? Our visual. One of my buddies that was a tennis buddy, he's a black guy, and when he did his genetics, right, he found out he was like over 30% Norwegian, and it was just interesting because he had always imagined himself he's black, right? But to just understand, it's like I've got the whitest of white blood in me as well, which is so interesting to me because we so much identify with the genetics that show up, right? But that's not a reflection of everything that's in there, to your point, Lori, right?
Well,
Right.
we
Now,
also,
I wanted to ask Lauren a question about
Yeah.
being from that land and that lineage. Is that lineage from that land? And is it part of that serpent mound? Is it close to that?
The Serpent Mound is in Ohio, but it's
That's
in
in Ohio.
southern Ohio.
Okay.
The Choctaw in me is from South Mississippi, the Pearl River Valley. Um, but
So
I'm sorry.
that's where your ancestry is from. It's from Mississippi.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
dad was from here in Cleveland. My mom's from the Gulf Coast, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's
Cool.
really strange though that the recessive is what decided to come to the surface and
yeah.
claim dominance with me. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like your avatar has this saved, and then it pulls this out. This is a mask that I need for this era. How am I going to dress? The way people dressed in Turtle Island during the time of Sequoia was just amazing. The
Beautiful.
paintings you see of all the colorful ways that you can see the influences reaching all the way up from what we would call Guatemala now, but you can see the influences touching these fibers and the personalities and everything else. It's so more ubiquitous than you would expect. You picture a splintered land of virgin soil where no one's around, and that's literally the opposite of what's happening. And so really what we have in our mind is this Zionistic sort of spell of you are a white man. This isn't you. None of this is you. This is, we put on TV who this is. It looks like this. It looks like Russell Means. It sounds like this.
And what's so weird is that everything you're seeing in this like Turtle Island, like like I don't know if you watch a press conference or something, it's like nobody looks like their native self. They all have like similar hair and eyes, or I
That's
don't know.
true.
It's strange when you think about it. They're trying to look like generic, talk generic, look generic.
You know, it's odd when you do DNA testing for Native American, there is none, but they do have a section for admixture American. And so with me, I was able to see that these Choctaw people, it looks like well, it showed up as Peruvian.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they must have migrated north.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah,
Yep.
they had to have. There's so many different examples where that looks like it's true. In fact, that whole Mississippi Valley is probably
Atlantean and Peru are connected.
Well, I was getting ready to say, yeah, that whole Mississippi Valley was probably Atlantis. You're
Was,
probably
yep.
looking at Key West as being the outer rings of that. Yep. There's even a rumored island in the middle of Mexico, fabled island in the middle of Gulf of Mexico that
Poseidon.
That people
You
kept.
mean the Gulf of America?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The maps did change. I hope our airship can get home.
Oh yeah, we'll be fine. Yeah. Sequoia spent a lot of his time after the war, though, trying to reunite the lost Cherokee, and so he headed out towards Arkansas. The whole time, he's teaching the language, but he's really trying to reunite the ancient lost people. Is who he's searching for. And history books will tell you he's looking for Cherokee, but keep in mind that Cherokee is itself a tribe that replaced something that was older before it. So there's nothing about the Eastern Cherokee band that has this ancient sort of claim to soil, which is why I think it's such a crucial, amazing archetype that's still alive that all of us can tap into, because Kuala is still open. The nation is still here. It's just been paved. Everything around it has been paved. And if you picture the Turtle Island as a shell, well, a shell is kind of paved, isn't it? It's got this outer matrix, this shielding on top of it. But ultimately, there's underneath it, it is this family, and that family doesn't even try and claim the land as theirs. They know that the white eyes, the giant eyes, the white people before them, it's theirs. So they are the oracle mythology giving us the land anyway. And in a way, what trips me out is that you're watching sort of the white male angst kind of groiper figure who's like, I don't feel like I own anything, which is a beautiful whine to have. But also he's expecting it to be handed to them. It's like, I will not be a man. You hear this all the time. Well, no one likes men because they don't make it easy for me to be a man. And it's the same thing as no one likes indigenous because they don't make it easy to be indigenous. And this is exactly the point, isn't it? This would be the only red road that could exist, would have to look like you, the white man, who's been told you are not allowed to walk on that red road, and you do it anyway. This is Sequoia. This is exactly what Sequoia did. Not only is that what he did, that's what they were all doing. That's what all these chief white bears were doing. So the chief white bear is stronger than ever. What needs to change is, it's so funny because what needs to change is how we used to worship the NFL, Coca-Cola, NBC version of the Indian. The one that looks this way, that still wears moccasins and cries at how shitty the white man is for littering. And that would be the only symbol we have that's sacred, and that sacredness is the very archetype that is enslaving us. It's a kind of, it's so similar, guys, to the worshiping of the Jew. In other words, here's this thing that is you, but not you. If they work it out, then you're going to work it out. Well, like if you can undo the injustice you did to them, you will then become a little bit less shitty. And you're looking at the same kind of bondage through the archetype, and it's all self-created. It's no one put us here. We put these chains on ourselves and said, No, we threw the red men out because that's the only way we could own up to the fact that we do not feel worthy of being indigenous. There's a lot of smallpox. There's a lot of psychopathy we learned on the streets of London. If you came from there, there's a lot of massive conscious sociopathy that we practiced on each other. And the reason why we have an immune system that's 20 times stronger is because we were 20 times more psychopathic before these guys were. And would mean that we would be 20 times less deserving of sort of redemption or of the ability to have a place where we could even plant our ka, where we could even become indigenous or be colored by the soil again.
Certainly. I mean, because so many of the white that came over here indentured, right? Is the same feeling of like you don't own the soil anywhere. And then you come into a place where, and I think when the first colonies came over here, a lot of the indentured servants, and this is also the slaves, they actually, defected to Turtle Island, if you will, right? They wanted to live with the indigenous out of the same need, right? To want to feel like they were at home in their soil. It's that same primal need.
Yeah, at least 80% of the white immigrants that came here were indentured, basically just slaves. And, you're throwing your meat on the shore and you're hoping enough dead bodies pile up that you end up with a civilization. And that's just what colonizing something is. You're just throwing dead bodies at it until enough of them survive that you can start trading with them. That's why it was always a corporation that was starting new land. It was always a corporation that was like, hey, you guys go over there and die until you can bring me furs. And if I send a boat over and you bring me furs, I'm going to let you live a little longer because I'm going to be wanting to trade with you more. So it was like the worst kind of slavery you can imagine you could imagine worse, but this is a slavery too, is what I'm saying. We're going to put you on this foreign land. You have no supplies at all. We're going to come back in 6 months. If you've got some furs for us, we might come back again. We might throw some beans your way, but let's see what happens to you. So,
go ahead.
I
was kind of thinking about this. Like, you come to Turtle Island, and there's a spirituality that worships the earth and the sun and the seasons, and it's connected. And then you're coming with the God outside. It's this persecuted Christian or something, if that's the real story. I don't really know. Mm-hmm. But supposedly it was like a religious, persecution, and they had to come because they were like, they needed to practice this Puritanism faith or what, I don't know. So I was just thinking about like my ancestor. I have an ancestor that came on the Mayflower.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Rachel Stoll. And so I think often about like what would make somebody get on a boat. I don't think they came over to be, dead bodies on a beach, or they were doing something and then they came over and found something better.
Yeah.
That wasn't part of that program.
Yeah. Weren't they persecuted basically?
Yeah.
Like basically they were ostracized enough. They just had and keep in mind, don't forget the story of 2-finger versus 3-finger Russian Orthodoxy, right? Where they were like, look, we're going to have to burn all you people because you want to use 3 fingers instead of 2 fingers when you sign the Holy Cross. So this is very easy to picture.
Yep.
Persecution back then. We call it religious persecution, but really it's just persecution. It's just biological tribalism, isn't it? Like that's really what it is.
The witch hunt at the same time.
Exactly. That's why it's right. Really the same thing. It's really just gang warfare, but gangs are necessary because you're living in the projects. It's the nature's projects, right? Like it's basically nature's projects, and so you're going to have to become a Crip or a Blood or whatever else. And if you end up in the wrong, if you're the Pilgrims, you're going to get your ass kicked. You're like, dude, you shouldn't have called yourself the Pilgrims. And they're like, man, we're fucking Amish, we go with so.
Dress really weird and not
Yeah.
really very comfortable for the environment.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that it was kind of a fluke that they ended up with that boat. It was I think they were were on the low end of bidding on that vessel to take them over to America. No, I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. Why are we laughing? Did something happen?
No, that's just funny. They were on the low end of the
Yeah, yeah, they were.
Jingy,
I think that they weren't going to get it actually, and then something amazing happened, some drought or some horrible thing somewhere else happened. They ended up on that ship. Then they were like, "Oh, God is telling us to do this." So then they all decided that God was telling them to do this. They launched the boat and it breaks like 30 miles later or something. It breaks. Like, I'm going to just say it's a rudder. It's not. It's something else. I just can't remember. But it's like their rudder goes out. So now they end up. They're not in their home, but they're like 60 miles away. And now they're stuck. They're stuck in another city, and they're basically huddled up on the ship trying to hide because they're basically fugitives at this point. They didn't have permission to leave. It was all so it's like trauma bond like crazy. They end up in dry dock, I think, for like 6 months. I think a good number of them actually died during that point. And then only then did they take off. And the whole time they're telling us, yeah, God's on our side. Look, I know it doesn't look. He's still on our side. Okay, you had to stop here. That's all.
It may flower.
Yeah. Although to be fair, I think they did gain a lot of other people actually joined them. So like, even though some people were dying, there was always people that are like, "Can I get the fuck out of here? Can I? Where are you guys going? Who the fuck knows?" And it's like, I'm in. Can I go too? So that tells you how hungry the psychology was, right? The consciousness was for get me the fuck out of here. The power of latency, the power of mystery. Because keep in mind, most of the propaganda was being distributed by these colonizers, the giant tea companies, the giant trading companies. They were the ones that were printing the press saying, okay, look, you're going to fucking love it. It's nothing but beaches all the way down. You got a bunch of naked, topless women giving you something called daiquiris. Look, just go. You're going to love this. It's going to be, they want you. They've actually said they prefer short, bald men. What do you know, Kevin? Look at this. He's like, they did not say that. It's like, Kevin, they did. Here, let me show you. He's like, I can't read. He's like, Kevin, just get on the boat, Kevin. Just get on the boat.
I wonder what would it take for Americans to become an immigrant, like to leave.
Oh, for us to go somewhere else?
I've seen this mass exodus of people that were having the Trump derangement syndrome, and they all went to Europe.
They don't make it easy.
Oh, no. Try going to Central America. I tried to go to
New Zealand, and my goodness, I thought it'd be a little bit easier. Oh, no. And I would have been living in fear of someone telling me, it's time to go.
Wow.
I didn't like that feeling.
Mm-mm.
Could you tell that people knew, Lori? Like, I'm not trying to figure out if you could blend in or you felt.
What do you
mean? In New Zealand?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
He means Lauren.
Lauren, did I say Lori? I'm sorry.
You did, yeah.
You know what? They were surprised I was such a nice American. Their idea of who we are was so bizarre to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm just a normal human.
Yeah.
They only know what they've seen on TV,
Yeah.
What?
Pretty much, and they admit that too.
That does kind of make the bar really low for being polite, like, look how great I am.
Kind of.
Yeah. I'm wearing pants, man. I'm wearing pants.
If they don't speak American, then you just scream a little louder. That's what we're known for.
It's the things
we're known for being loud.
Scream louder if they don't understand the language that you're speaking American.
Well, right now a lot of people are revolting in Mexico City, and they're actually revolting because of Gringo. They're really tired of the migration,
The expatriates coming over there.
Yeah, yeah, and it's certainly not just Mexico City. I saw it a lot in Tulum, outside of Tulum, but through in Belize. I saw it a lot in Costa Rica. I was really surprised to see it in Costa Rica. And I'm not saying that all of it's that way, but you really do know what it's like to live in America if you were not white, if you go down to Mexico City and just kind of just walk around and find a place that doesn't want you there. And then you kind of understand, wow, this is probably what it feels like to like just be in America and not be white. And it's a very different, you have to, I think that you have to become indigenous instantly. You want to colorize yourself with the area. And I find that to be, one of my favorite things about it. If you notice how sometimes you'll go travel and you'll sort of wait until you feel that you're local, I've noticed that Central America, the amount of time it takes to feel local is very fast. It's very easy because you want to get there as quick as you can. You need it to survive, and you have to remind yourself, okay, I don't know what kind of dog is going to come up next. I don't know if a fucking howler monkey is going to throw shit at me. I don't know if someone's going to want to gut me at this airport. You just don't know. And this is the same feeling you would have in New York City. It's the same feeling if you were to, say, walk in what we might call the projects or something. But underneath it is you feel alive. And that's indigenous. That feeling that you are here, you are rooted in the soil, but I do not deserve, I have not earned, there's not an insurance that I have that this place is mine. I have to declare it mine by being colored by it, if that makes sense, by sinking into the soil and saying, this is the space at which that I am.
It totally does, because that's the difference between being a tourist, right?
Yeah.
So many people talk about you show up somewhere. Why is it obvious you're a tourist? Because you are a tourist. Because you are observing the space. You're not in the space. And exactly what you're talking about. It's like the only difference is when you walk into a space and being someone who's like, this space is here to entertain me. I'm a tourist. It's supposed to display for me. And I just exist in this space. And that's the difference. And that's, I think, what I think a lot of cultures and a lot of places feel when tourists, when Americans go to other places. I think America is probably the most in terms of touristic sort of showing you the mentality to go to the rest of the world like it's there for you to tour it, right? Mm-hmm. It's there to present to you instead of it's just a world and you exist in it.
Yeah, and how many people ever understand there's a different mindset than tourists? Like, it could be that maybe like a certain percentage of the population, Brad, is just always in, I'm in an airport. The entire world is basically a terminal, and it's a duty-free terminal, isn't it? And so that's a very Wetiko. Like, can you think of a more Wetiko setting than being in a custom duty-free portion of the airport that's neither inside a country or outside of a country? And that your ability to even go outside and breathe the air is going to require you to go through a security protocol and be searched and scanned and x-rayed, which is no different than getting into a teleporter on Star Trek and beaming down to a planet, is it not? Because it feels the same to me. I get freaked out. I'm just like, I don't want to go through that teleporter. I don't want to do that because I don't know if I can get back. I don't know. It terrifies me, and that terror makes me connect to the land more, doesn't it? Not less. It makes me say, James, you need a house, dude. You need a house, because I think you'll be able to hide here the longest. If everything goes insane, your plans for a battle RV are not as logistically possible as you think. It sounds like a great idea, but you're just going to get it towed. Someone's just going to take it. If you have a house, you can pretend to be a normal person. You can hide under the sanctity of a legal foreclosure because they've declared everything you do for a living to be illegal. I'm just saying, in my mind, this is the doomsday that I think about. And isn't this me being indigenous, though? Aren't I just a beaver that's like, look, I'm going to dig this hole. I'm going to put it through mud. I'm going to pee on it. Then I'm going to poop on it. Because then when people come, they're going to be like, oh, shit, this is a mess.
Booby trapped.
Yeah. And so this is what we do. All of our legal, my mortgage, isn't that just a beaver poop trap that I've constructed where I've just taken a bunch of dead trees, right? And aligned them into an area that makes it harder for people to root me out. That's all I've done is I've made it a little bit harder for a larger predator to remove me from the house. That's all I've done. And I've used what does everyone else do? Here's what they do. It's all legally protected. It's insurance that's protecting it, right? Like the homeowner's insurance policy I have technically is probably one of the largest protections I have for the house itself. These are fields, aren't they? Isn't this a 20-to-1 ratio over a nomad or the skunk that lives outside my house? It's the same vibration. We're doing the same thing. It's just one's more elaborate than the other. So both of us are still indigenous, but I'm legally indigenous. And I don't think that we give enough credit for those kinds of spells.
No, we totally don't. We tend to probably tear them down, don't we? Especially at this level of saying they're invalid. Well, in truth, they really are.
It's almost like we only allow the high wizards to use that magic, don't we? We're only allowing certain high wizards that are also indigenous, but we're saying no, because they're not indigenous. Neither am I, and it's what they have as law, and then you really see, wow, look at what I've painted myself. Look at the war paint I've put on myself. It's all white. I've painted the war paint of solid white all over myself, haven't I? And I haven't noticed. I've used technology to cover myself in a solid white because I want to be ignorant. I want to be clean of this world. I want to be separate from it. I want the Wetiko because I feel safer in this dust, in this chalk is what it is. It's a chalk smoke.
Don't you think it's like this level of, it's a film of protection or something?
Yeah.
I was thinking about the living where I live and the people that are claiming this land were exiled from Canada as this, like, their story is, well, the great exile. They were not belonging there. And they came from France to Canada and then from Canada to here. And then they formed this culture here that is so thick. And then there's the Native American mixing with Caribbean cultures and the African American culture, and we have a Creole culture, but the cultures all come from Francophone or exile. And then, here I come where I can't belong to the unbelonged. So it's like we're all like claiming our unbelonging, but by not claiming indigenous, whether it's, being white and not belonging to whatever it is, but it's just like the power over the non-belonging.
Yeah.
Yeah, waiting on us to claim our power of belonging, basically, right?
Yeah.
It really does make you look at this spell of us rounding up what we call immigrants would be a spell that would put us back into that white shell where we don't belong here. And citizen is such an evil spell. This idea of you're a citizen. I left my wallet at home. I drove my sweetie to the airport, and I didn't. When I was leaving, I was like, oh, I can't find my wallet. I was like, wow, did it fall out of the car? And then so I was driving all the way back, but then I was also like, wow, I don't have an ID. I could get pulled over. And I was just like, wow, James, this is like 1/1000th of what it's like to be an immigrant right now.
Right. Yeah.
Like you're just
Wow.
trying to drive my sweetie. I drove her to the airport and now I wanted to go home. And fuck, I hope I don't get caught. And I hope that I haven't lost my wallet. I hope that it didn't fall out of the car because I don't have the ability to legitimize myself through a certificate. I don't have the dead tree spell that has the stamp on it that validates my fucking existence here. This is so disgusting as it's coming out of my lips. And this is just what it's standardized. We are so far away from being indigenous. It is so far away from us. You totally get why the war drums that are pounding now, they should have been pounding 300 years ago.
I was thinking
weird.
about down here in the culture of being a black man driving around. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, it
Just
is.
to get pulled over as a black man. And then now we have I have a lot of people that are native of this soil, multiple generations that look like Mexican American, like they look Mexican, but they're American. And just by the color, what do you, it's just like just driving around, like you said. It's like you're being socially profiled.
Yeah.
And this is why I don't take it for granted that when I did get stopped and asked for my papers, it's not beyond me that I look like I am a white guy this kind of way. But I didn't have my ID on me and I didn't produce it. But I did give him a hard time about the fact that how ridiculous it was that I was being asked to prove my identity because I lived here. And, nothing came of that. It kind of just told me, oh, well, you're supposed to have identification this kind of way. But point is, it is fucked up. It's very fucked up that you should have to produce anything to say you're legitimate to be in the space you're in.
Well, it's more about, I'm not trying to disagree, but I think it's important that we have merit badges. And the merit badge says the tribe of North Carolina they kind of tolerate me, and so I have this merit badge, right, that says that. But when we go after immigrants with an ICE squad, we are for the very first time saying, no, it actually is not that way. It's never been that way. That actually the only people that were ever supposed to be here are what are called citizens. And that's the only people that are ever allowed to be here. And this is such a sneaky snake. This has never been in the law. This has never once been there. And the fact that it's there now is huge. It's putting a floor between your feet and the earth, isn't it? And it's saying now that we're pulling this floor, all we're going to have left is the ones that we sift that are thick enough that we call citizen. And everyone else is going to be removed. Do
you know what I was thinking though, James? I remember working in a hospital and this doctor said he was really upset about a woman dying. And he said, she was such a good citizen. And it's it was such a beautiful statement of she was such a good person. Mm-hmm. To be a good citizen and now it's to be a citizen is tainted.
Well, I'm tainting
to
it.
be a civic person, to be working in your town as a doing your civic duty, to be a good citizen of your town is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now it's tainted to be like a vigilante or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a different world and I'm actually tainting it because I really do have some problems with that. And I'm surprised at how there's not a lot of people that agree with me on that. There's a lot of people that are like, of course this is the only thing. Of course you have to be a citizen. Of course.
Well, what does this citizen mean?
Why would we
Like,
not do that?
I mean, right.
so like if you were a good citizen, you would want immigration because, that is what made this country the way it is. It's like that's a good citizen to welcome, that's what we were, this is like we were welcomed here.
Yeah.
Well, it goes against the fact that the idea and the Statue of Liberty
Yeah.
going to put up there, send me your child huddled in poured mess. And it's like, but that's in truth, it's like, that's not the ideal you're actually honoring,
No, you're making
not.
citizen is like a bad, it wasn't a bad thing. It was a good thing to be a good citizen. That was a welcoming statement, not a, I only want a certain.
An indigenous could look up to a citizen, honestly.
Yes.
That's how it's always
Yes.
been. And a citizen would provide indigenous with work. They
Yes.
would provide them with an input into the community.
Yeah.
And all that's gone.
Well, not really gone because we still have it.
The system, if I was an immigrant, I would have
I'd be going back. That's what I'd do.
massive reservations about thinking this was going to ever stop, or that tremor, that terror would subside in my lifetime. And so I think in a way it did sort of kill that. And I think it's just me being selfish about it, honestly, because it's not really my world. In my mind, that's horrible. It's I don't like it. But also, I also know that the only way we're going to be able to have that is someone's going to have to be asking you for your papers. There literally is going to be no way around that, and
That's a digital ID.
no one's going to want to carry around papers, and it's going to have to be a digital facial recognition system.
Right.
And all that was because some revenge tards wanted to round up immigrants so they could feel superior because they felt that there was a leftist attack on their sensibilities. And if you're that gullible, and if you cannot see what I see now, I don't even belong to you guys anyway. Not you guys, but I don't belong to that population. This is what I mean by it's not really my land. I'm a tolerant is what I am. I'm not an immigrant. I'm a tolerant. If you really think about everything that I've said, everything that I've stand for, I am a foreign insurgent that is tolerated by the citizenship. And I appreciate that. It's as best as I can do because I really do compassionate the land and see that most of it does feel this way. Even if we want to say, well, they're controlling us, I think it's more like this is the music these cows, the American cows like to listen to this. I'm an American cow too. I'm this different class,
I'm going to go back to this. There's a certain location in where I live. There's a lot of immigrant people that like Mexican groceries and restaurants, and it's like a whole part of the town I live in, or a bigger town that I live in. And I was wondering, it's like the whole thing is like if you go there, it's like you're in Mexico. No one speaks English, and there's the wire home the money to your family, all of that. It's like a big business, this whole part of this, and I was going to go over there and just, compassionate experience because I don't know what it would feel like to be sitting at lunch and, what do they have, lookouts or something? Look out, like the ice are here.
Yeah.
Living in fear.
Yeah. How would you digest
just trying
food?
to eat your lunch.
How would you even
You're a
digest?
roofing crew and you're eating your lunch at this, and I don't know, you have somebody out there as a Wild West guard.
You can't even digest the lunch when
Exactly.
you're in fear.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The Face ID does remove anonymity.
Yeah.
and the anonymity, the lack of anonymity would be the only thing that would eliminate a border. It would stop the necessity for a border at all. Can you see what I mean by that?
Yeah.
It
Is
would
it
also
any,
reveal the ICE agents, right? They couldn't hide either, right?
would it be any different than like the Jews having to wear the star? I mean, we'd have to be showing the ID.
Yeah.
Same.
It,
It's no
If we're all
different
doing
than
it,
it's
it's
no
one of those
different than the
things-
merit badge that says I belong to the Choctaw. Consider me valid. What's
Right.
different is that the Huron have been slaughtered. The Iroquois have taken over. They have incorporated all their children. The native born are citizens of the Iroquois, not the Huron. And they've been run off, and they've been told, you don't have what it takes to run your land. We run this land now, and you're going to be part of our nation. So in a way, nothing's changed. This is why I'm saying I kind of like that I get myself more, that I'm not really one of these. I really thought I was, and I caused a lot of trouble, and served in the war, and knew right away, even in the war, I would hear some of the things come out of my mouth and just be like, yeah, I'm not really helping you guys. It's you guys should really hear some of the things I said. I've actually, I remember having that discussion with a yeoman. It was about 6 years in, and I was always asking, hey, can I just go? I just don't fit here. And we kind of hit it off. And so, I would always just philosophically, discuss with her. And I remember once telling her, you do know what my job is, right? And she was like, you're a sonar technician. I was like, yes, but you do know where I sit, right? She's like, what do you mean? She's like, I am right next to the fire control technician, the dude that shoots the torpedoes. Did you know that if he dies, I'm supposed to shoot the torpedoes? Look at me. Look at me. Do you want me to be the one that shoots the torpedoes?
Oh,
Yeah. We had good talks. It didn't work. I actually did to get out early. I think I got out like 6 months early, and
Were you in the submarines? Like
I was a sub hunter, was what I was. So I wasn't.
you weren't in the submarine?
No, I mean I was, because I had to be trained on how to hunt them. So
Yeah.
so you do stuff like that, but mostly I was in the sonar buoy of a frigate in the nose. And I mean, I wasn't in there, but that's where the transducer is. It's rubberized, sort of like Shamu type rubber that has this giant microphone.
Ding.
And that microphone, it does send a signal, but more importantly, it listens. It's a very sophisticated listening device. It's very akin to your pores and your skin, and that the ping would be the follicle or the hair that grows out of the pore. But then the other holes, most of your pores are open. They don't have a ping in them, and those are listening. So,
Well, can I ask a question? When you were doing that, did you get like a sixth sense? Like, did you get like goosebumps or hair on your hair? Like when you were sensing something that you could track?
well, sadly, most of the training I did was in audio simulations. I mean, it was like real audio, but it's like, here's this, and then can you find this, or is there a target here? And then you would analyze the signature. This sounds so but I actually can't tell you how I do that. I'm not allowed to like say that, but basically when you tune into something, then you do an audio confirmation, and then that's always cool, because you really are the only one in the ship. You really are the only person in the entire ship that knows what's going on. And that's kind of a cool feeling, because it does feel like feels like your face is in the water, in the pool, and your ears are, but you can hear your sister or someone above, but they don't know that you can hear this someone's got a rock and they're tapping the side of the metal rim in the deep end, and you're hearing those Star Wars pulses, and it's a secret code. It's kind of like that. So it's like, this is cool shit. And then when you hear the organics are just, oh my God, the whale songs, the chatter, the long powered, you're listening to sounds. If certain microphones we would tap into would be dropped from a helicopter, and then those would penetrate deeper depths and things like that. There's a lot of different ways, but sometimes you'll get inside the SOFAR channel, and then you're listening to like Australia. You're like,
oh man, that's so cool.
You're like, those are humpbacks. Those guys are probably in fucking Australia. Like, those fuckers are in Australia right now. And if you're wondering how, it's because they got an accent. They're like, good day. Like, good day. We're a sperm whale over here. We are. Good day.
They say like, bro a lot.
Holy, yeah.
Right.
They do.
One of my favorite ways to connect to the land is actually stomping on it, and I believe that sends a vibration into the soil that can be felt, much like you're just talking about the sonar. And I think that's why when we see the indigenous people of this land dancing,
totally,
they really know what's up.
Sure.
And I'll catch myself in the morning with some music on and just pounding away, and a really just beautiful. I like to dance a lot, just having so much fun in my body, and just like, wow, this is so great, and I'm so connected then. Man, I feel like if we could get back to that, especially in places where you feel like in my field, I feel pretty comfortable everywhere. I kind of act like the outside is my land. So to be able to do that in your yard and in your front driveway at 3 in the morning, just whatever, even in your living room, just to really feel that connection to the soil,
Totally.
I think is a vibration that Gaia really responds to.
You're so right. Can I add something to that?
So cool, the difference between listening and speaking, right? Like on one hand, like you're talking about James, the listening, and Renee, the speaking.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, active sonar and passive sonar,
Yeah.
So it's interesting that one of the two most important kinds of dancing that had to be outlawed was the sun dance and the ghost dance.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And if you think about the white sun and the white ghost, these are like anti-Watiko dances. These are dances that are meant to pull you out of your shell. And these are very different dances. The sun dance, you guys, if anyone invites you to a sun dance and
you're a guy, don't go.
And you're like, hey, I'll try something new. You should probably look at the brochure. You should probably just look at the brochure first. I'm not saying don't go, but I'm saying you're going to need a long weekend for this. This is going to be some recovery. And the ghost dance was considered so dangerous that I think like 200 and something people were gunned down. Like shot.
It was so powerful. Not dangerous. It was so powerful. They didn't want it performed.
Yeah.
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 This
but
was
still
this
do
was
it, though. Didn't they bring it back?
Yeah. Well, I would imagine they fucking do it more. Yeah, I would imagine it'd be like, well, I'm going to fucking show you.
I think it's done in Taos, New Mexico.
It's probably the spirit that they felt too while they were dancing, because thoughts are things and vibration, and it was probably very powerful.
I could imagine probably even being shot while you're doing that would be sort of the last chance to be a warrior.
Wow.
To die in that kind of Valhalic honor, the native version of that promised land. It's Yeah.
We got our souls, it's connected to that soil. So it is a direct plug-in. And then you throw in a sunrise, and guess what? You're really chiming all the bells there. But we are I guess we have a couple more minutes on our ride. It's been so fun though.
It has been. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone coming aboard and getting indigenous with it. for sure.
Down with the
And
land.
indigenous with it.
So sequoia made it all the way to northern Mexico. Just if you notice where Texas has kind of a cookie bite out of it, that in the middle of that cookie, he apparently made it all the way to there. He was looking for these ancient Cherokee tribes, and I think that he probably found it there because he started to maybe check into the Mexican culture. And I think this is sort of maybe a nod back to Atlantis, that if you look at the Aztec, they came from a place that was sank into the water, and they migrated down to this place where they are now, and that it could be that Sequoia was chasing that same ancient Mexican culture. So he passed away somewhere in that area. No one quite knows where exactly, but interesting cat.
Wow. It's a wonderful story of Sequoia tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to look more into some sequoia personally.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely
Actually,
do too.
Yeah.
yeah, me too. I think there's some hidden. Honestly, I think there's some hidden things in there. There's something interesting to all this. Yeah, you guys check it out.
Yeah,
Tasali,
sure.
Tasali, I think is a word that Tsali. Is, you know what, I'm not going to take because I'll be wrong, and we don't need to be wrong all the time. So I'm going to play us out. Let's say goodnight,
Thanks, guys. That was really fun.
So much fun.
Cheers, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone. Have a great night.
Good times.
You said it yourself, this will not work if we are miles apart. Wake up alone, your fans are closed. Reach for something that you're not. Oh, you need to calm down, honey. You need to calm down. You need to calm down, honey. You need to calm down, 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 I know how you feel up in there. You'll get there, I know you would. I know that you don't like your hair, but I think it's beautiful. We just need to calm